Hi drummers, hope you're well. Right, shout out to channel member Malcolm. This is how to play the opening drum groove from Dani California by the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and it's played by Chad Smith. Of course, goes a bit like this. So there's quite a lot going on here. Hi-hat and snare drum playing a classic rock type of beat. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... A lot of the movement on this groove, honestly, is from the bass drum, isn't it? You've got... So you've got that 1 and 2, a 3 and 4. Now the a 3 and is the bit that kind of honestly depends, as I see it, how long you've been playing the drums. If you've been playing for a while and you've been working on your bass drum and doing your practice, like it could be for a lot of drummers, that's another day at the office. But if you're quite new to drumming, if you haven't done a lot of practice on your bass drum, if you haven't got a sort of solid heel up type of bass drum technique like Chad Smith uses, that could be a real challenge. It could be quite frustrating. So you've got to work on that technique, you've got to build it up, you do lots of playing of this sort of stuff to bum, 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 get a technique going there that you can really rely on under the lights, And I've made a whole playlist of videos, in fact, about that sort of technique on bass drum, bum, bum, the 2 quick kicks in particular. I'll link to that below or above, depending where you're watching this. That's the next step then. That's that. The next little thing to think about is there's a little bounce double, isn't there? It comes in on the last 16th of the bar and actually begins the whole tune. And certainly at the beginning, it's at the end of every bar as well, on the of beat 4, as in 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and. I'd play it as a little bounce double stroke. You could even play it as a buzz stroke, but I would go bounce double stroke. So let's throw that in now. So that's basically it. There's one other thing I always think about when I'm playing Chad Smith's grooves and trying to recreate that amazing feel that band has, is the left foot. Now, when you first look at Chad Smith playing, especially live, it does look like he's playing sometimes the left foot, like on every 8th note. You see his left foot like bouncing along, his left leg bouncing along. It looks a bit like he's going... I think at its most extreme, it is that. But I would say most of the time, he's just keeping time with his left heel, and it's just part of his whole movement, his whole vibe. It's just part of that groove, isn't it? And that feel that he's just moving. I would say generally, on a groove like this, it isn't actually that the hi-hats are coming together, like he's not fully playing a note on the hi-hat every time, although the leg is moving. It's more, it seems to me, more the heel is landing on the back of the pedal. But then on the 2 and the 4 in particular, he is like effectively opening and closing the hi-hat, the close being on the 2 and the 4. So something like... And like I say, if it get a bit more excited later on, it might get a bit more that the hi-hat's just separating sometimes. So that's just his vibe, and that's his feel. I would say that's the last step with this one. If you've got the other stuff happening, you can have a little play around with that. I never feel like I quite do replicate exactly his feel, but I guess that's the whole point, isn't it? As long as you're most of the way there, you're doing your own thing with it, that's cool. We're not trying to be Chad Smith, we're just trying to honour this classic groove, right? But it's worth thinking about that left foot, because that is a big part of his sound, I think. So lastly here, I'm going to play the whole thing. I'll start real slow, and I'll just roll it round. I'll go as slow as I can while still sort of bouncing along on that left leg, and then bit by bit we'll pick up the speed. Here we go. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Thanks for watching as always, really appreciate it. Shout out to channel member Malcolm who's working on this. The notation for this and a practice along version you'll find now on the channel members page. As always, thanks a million to all the new channel members joining up, really appreciate it. And thanks as ever to all the long-standing channel members. Needless to say, I massively appreciate that as well. Thanks for watching, see you soon.